Hi y'all, so you're back here in another episode of Indigo Podcast, and today I'll be giving y'all a quick little life update, and I got a little Q&A at the end. So the way this life update is going to go, it's pretty much just sectioned off in a few different categories, I guess. So first one is my top 3 favorite songs at the moment, and after that I got my top 3 favorite recipes at the moment. And after that I got what audiobooks and podcasts I'm currently listening to at the moment. Then after that I'm going to go into my running, like how my training looks like in terms of running right now. Then I'm going to go into my lifting, how that looks like right now. And then I'm going to just give y'all a saying I really like right now and explain that and give y'all some tidbits on just life in general. And then also the Q&A, obviously. But I'm going to just, this might be a recurring thing, but I just think I just kind of want to update y'all on what's going on, some things I'm thinking about, things I'm doing, and maybe if y'all like them, I'll keep doing them in the future just sporadically. But first section I'm going to start with is my top 3 favorite songs at the moment, and these are ranked in order, by the way, if you were wondering. But the first one, my top 1 favorite song at the moment is it's spelled weirdly, but I'm gonna say Nostalgia. I'm gonna pronounce it like that, by Pusha T featuring Kendrick Lamar. I've heard the song before, like in a YouTube short, and I'm like, it was basically like a lyric breakdown, because like he uses the word 10, because like he'll like tension and blah blah blah. If you want to really like understand what I'm saying, you have to hear the song. But the whole brick of the rhyme scheme is based off the word 10, and it's just the way just the way he uses that word 10, and then just it's just phenomenal. But I heard it like in the YouTube short, like I said, and I listened to it the whole way through, and I've definitely been missing out because Pusha did his thing too. I'm not saying he got like his part is just terrible compared to Kendrick's. It's not what I'm trying to say. They both did really good, but Kendrick's part just really stands out to me. Just the aggression and the weight. Because the first lyric is literally like, or the first bar is like, "You want to see a dead body?" I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like okay, like all right. Then he just starts sliding and then just goes like, it's just the rhyme scheme, bro. Like, you really gotta hear it to understand what I'm saying. But it's just the aggression, like the presence, the mic presence is crazy. The rhyme scheme is just ridiculous, and then the song is just crazy. You just please listen to the song. It's just ridiculous. But also the voice inflections, because Kendrick, he's very like infamous for his voice inflections and the way he can manipulate his voice to sound a certain way and evoke certain emotions. Just the way he does this and kind of mentions his dad, and it's just, like I said, it's crazy. I would recommend the song. But my number 1 is Nostalgia by Pusha T and Kendrick. That's my number 1. But number 2, I kind of mentioned this song already. I got Aquemini by Outkast, and like I said, I mentioned this in episode 27, but it's definitely a standout from the album, because I would definitely say this is my favorite off of Aquemini so far, off of that like first like initial listen. But it's just a really chill song. It's kind of like I wouldn't say it's really like jazzy. It's kind of just like some lo-fi type stuff, like in terms of the beat. Like, but the thing is, I think Outkast, like Big Boy and Andre, they really counteract that chillness with like their like weird, not weird bars, but like just their quirky flows and their like just their presence. Like, because the thing is, the beats really chill, but they come in on some like they're coming in with a little bit of like fast flows and like just off the wall flows and word plays you've never really heard like in the typical like, because around that time I would say gangster rap was more popular than what they were doing, but I feel like that's what made them unique, and I kind of explained that in episode 27. But they just brought something different to the table, and it's just the lyrics too. It's so cohesive, and it creates a really chill and like really inviting environment in my opinion. But I'd say Aquemini is my second favorite. It's not above Nostalgia. Nostalgia is just, bro, it's something crazy, but it just keeps you engaged throughout the whole thing. And so far, off of what I've listened to, this is my favorite Outkast song, like in their whole discography. But that will probably change when I listen to their earlier projects before Aquemini. But Aquemini is my number 2 favorite song at the moment. But number 3, I got The Art of Peer Pressure by Kendrick Lamar, and I'm not gonna lie, because I made this list before I heard, like, re-listened to this album, because one night I was listening to Mad Villainy by MF Doom and Madlib, and I ain't gonna lie, you could probably put accordion here too, or like all caps, or Figaro. You could probably put that on there too, but I'm gonna stick with The Art of Peer Pressure because the intro is just ridiculous. Just the way he just it's just the thing is when Kendrick gets in like that jazz rap bag, it's just it's like ear candy, bro. Like I just can't describe it. Like it's just ridiculous. I really think he does the jazz rap lane really good, and I mean you saw that in the Pimp a Butterfly. He pulled that off beautifully, in my opinion. I just listened to the Pimp a Butterfly again on the walk, and like I heard a lot of different drum lines and like synths. Well, I wouldn't say synth heavy, but like just different components that you don't really hear like on the first listen, obviously. But I'm thinking about the art of peer pressure starts like with the whole like singing jazz rap type thing, then like starts into this like dark like synth line, and then he starts talking about like a white Toyota and like him and his friends. What am I saying? Him and his friends, they go on like a home invasion and someone's in the room, and then they take off and make a right and a left and a right. This is like you can fully paint the picture of what's going on, and that's what a lot of people like about Good Kid, Mad City, because it's very cinematic. I mean, you can see it from the cover. It's like it says a short film by Kendrick Lamar, so he's literally taking you in a short film, like literally, and he's describing it so vividly, and I really appreciate that about this album. I'm not gonna lie. Right now, it's kind of tied with To Pimp a Butterfly because I always thought To Pimp a Butterfly was better, but I really appreciate Good Kid, Mad City now because just the storyline and the way everything's so cohesive and the way he's painting these pictures is just really cool, and I really respect that about this album, man. I really like it way more than I did when I was younger. So when I was younger, I just heard swimming pools, and I heard what else was Money Trees. What's another big song? I know I'm forgetting one. What's another big one? Oh, Don't Kill My Vibe, obviously. I knew there was one like really big one on there, but our transition into the storytelling cut, like I just said, is phenomenal. But the intro is my favorite part, in my opinion. If you heard the intro of The Art of Peer Pressure, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know if that's a hot take, but in my opinion, that's my favorite. That's my favorite part of the song, even though the storytelling part is really good. But those are my top 3 songs right now. Number 1 is Nostalgia by Pusha T and Kendrick. 2 is Come On by Outkast, and then 3 it's either The Art of Peer Pressure or Accordion by MF Doom and Madlib. That's interchangeable, but that's my top 3. But now we're gonna get into my top 3 favorite recipes at the moment. And my number 1, this one I'm gonna make by the time this comes out, it should be a video out about this recipe. Maybe or may not. But it's a protein yogurt bowl. But I put frozen mixed berries. It's like a frozen berry mix. I'll put a picture right here if I can find it. It's Kroger brand, Simple Truth brand. If you go to Kroger, you can find it. It's like a cherry berry blend or whatever. But it's like frozen mixed berries and cherries, mango, banana. The banana is not frozen, by the way. It's fresh banana. I'm just clarifying. The mango's frozen though. And then you throw some flaxseed on there, peanut butter, and agave syrup. This is like my go-to post-workout meal. Like, bro, like the frozen fruit just makes the yogurt like kind of like icy, I guess, and it just like molds everything together. If you like put cold stuff on yogurt before, you know what I mean? Like it just like melds it together. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like I said, I'm gonna make a recipe video for this so y'all see it like live in the flesh and know exactly what's going on. But you get good carbs from the fruit and the agave syrup. You get good fat from the yogurt and the peanut butter, and you get good protein from the protein powder. So I feel like it's a well-rounded meal, tastes phenomenal, and the coldness of the fruit just makes the yogurt taste 10 times better. So that's my number 1 favorite recipe at the moment. I don't think that will ever get old, but really, really crazy recipe. Y'all see it soon though. But next one, I posted this one already by the time this video comes out, but tempeh pasta salad. And it actually surprised me a lot because I'm not really a big salad person, like at all. Like I don't really care for salad. So going into this, I didn't really know because I've never had pasta salad for real, to be honest. But I was planning recipes. I'm like, okay, this sounds cool. So pretty much what it is just like a cavatappi pasta, and I threw some tempeh in there, some cucumber, olives, Roma tomatoes. They're cherry tomatoes actually, and some sweet corn. And what else I put in there? I put avocado too. I made a little dressing. It's just Dijon mustard, balsamic, and some extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of water. Then I'll put the recipe right here if you haven't seen it yet. But it's a really good contrast, and I think the tempeh really melds it together and really makes it stand out. Because I believe I put coconut aminos on the tempeh, and I think with coconut aminos is like a what you call it, a umami flavor, like a soy sauce type thing. And it just really blends it together really well. But I will say, I'm going to be dead honest, I ate it and it's really good, but like with salads, I don't know why, but sometimes I just pick out certain ingredients. So I just the first like taste test, I like them, and then I'm like I don't really know if I like this anymore. So the tomatoes and the olives slowly, like the tomatoes stayed in there, but the olives, I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. So I just started picking olives out. But other than that, really good recipe with the olives. I may need to try them again to get a good opinion. But from what I tasted that time, I just didn't really care for them. So I started picking them out. But other than that, really good recipe. So maybe next time I make it, I'll leave the olives and tomatoes out. Because that's another thing I like about this one. It's really customizable. You can change it based on your preferences. But the main thing is the pasta, obviously, and the tempeh. But definitely recommend that, and it's really easy to change it based on what you like. But third one, if you know me, this isn't a surprise. Fava bean tofu scramble with avocado toast. This will never leave my top three. Like no matter how old I get, this will never leave. Like this is one of my go-to meals. Like bro, it's literally just so simple, but it's just so good. And recently I've been adding like I get basically tomatoes, I slice them, and after like the scramble's done cooking, I put it on a plate and the pan is still hot, so I put the tomatoes on there and I like put some like salt and black pepper and I just flip them, and it's like really like I don't know, bro. It just melts into the avocado toast. It's just ridiculous, but I don't really have to explain this one. It'll never leave my top three. I'll always, because people might think I'm tired of it. I'm like the person, I don't get tired of certain meals. Like, I just love eating them over and over and over again. Like, they just never get old. But fava bean toast scramble and avocado toast. But that's my top three recipes at the moment. Obviously changes depending on what I'm eating. But right now, my top one, and I really want y'all to see this, the protein yogurt. Crazy. I've made it before, but this one is just like elevated, like revamped. So really cool. But next thing I got here, what audiobooks and podcasts am I listening to right now? The first one, this is a re-listen, The Courage to Be Disliked. I'm currently re-listening to it, and I could definitely say I picked up on some new things. Like some things that really stood out to me was like not competing with others, because it kind of makes people seem like they're your enemies in a sense. And just also, let me see right here. Like people decide, I realize that when people say that they can't do something or that they don't want to do something, they've already made the decision to not do that. And they've already made the decision that they're not going to try. And they've already contemplated the excuses that they're going to make up to like mask and lie to themselves to why they're not going to do that. And that really stood out to me, because that really made me understand why people don't do certain things, out of fear or whatever or whatnot. But it just really painted a picture on what kind of goes in that. I mean, I don't know exactly what goes in people's heads, obviously, but it just really put it in perspective, not set it into stone. I don't think that's a good way of putting it. Put it in perspective and really gave me some knowledge on people that are kind of scared to chase what they want, I guess. But I really related to the competition fact of it, because I would say there's a period of time, because I've mentioned it on here, like saying how like there's an award thing and I didn't get the award or whatever, and it kind of passed for say like I wasn't really competing with anyone. I was competing with myself, obviously, but it was a instance, and it was this week actually, because me and my cross country team, we were just going for an easy run, and some people were like going ahead of me a little bit, like pressing a little bit. So I'm like, hold on, because the way I am, I'm like, I'm not finna let you press and like me not catch up to you. So I'm like, all right, let me push up a little bit. So I pushed up. It wasn't like a 6 flat pace. Like it wasn't nothing outlandish, but like it's just the aspect of me trying to catch up with them and feeling like not inferior, but like someone like they're testing me or something, And I fell for the test. But the second time, I was just like, let me just focus on me. Because the thing is, I feel like a lot of people try and be occasionally great rather than consistently good. And I really think if you're consistently good, you consistently show up and do what you need to do over a period of time. When it's time to full send and let it rip, you really can. Because for me, let's say for running, your easy runs, you're supposed to go off a field. It's not supposed to be You're not supposed to be pressing. It's not supposed to be super difficult. It's supposed to just be off a field what your body wants to do. And then when you have tempo workouts and then you have track workouts, that's when you really have to dial in a pace and dial in splits. That's when you really have to press and really get after it. But on easy runs, there's no reason you should be pressing at all. Like, that's not the purpose. The purpose is to build an aerobic base. But the purpose of a tempo workout is to push it and get really close to race place and kind of facilitate that and what's a good word for it? Simulate the race, obviously. But it's the thing is, I feel like it's kind of discouraging at first, but then when you really realize what the goal is and what you're really trying to do, you realize it's just a part of the process. And I feel like you should always be consistently good rather than occasionally great, because when you try to be occasionally great, the thing is, when people are occasionally great, it's like you're not as confident, because the thing is, you don't have the base of consistency to back it up, so you feel less confident than if you were consistently good. If you're just trying to be occasionally great, you just try to pop out every now and then just to impress others. You don't really have the base and the courage to really do what you're trying to do, and you're not even confident behind it. But if you're consistently good, you have the base of consistency and resilience you've built, and you're very confident, you're very sure of what you're trying to do, and there's no doubt in your mind that you're going to do what you need to do. So that's why I really appreciated that. And I really how I say this, like, it just really stood out to me. Like, I knew something was up. Like, I don't think competition is bad, especially like, I think if you compete when you run, it'll pull you to a PR. I think it'll pull you to be better, especially when you're competing against like-minded people that are on the same page as you. But I'm saying, if you're on an easy run and there's people in front of you trying to press and you feel the need to press just because they're in front of you, I feel like that's an issue. And I feel like that's a sign that maybe there's something you need to work on internally. But I'm not saying competition is bad, but I just took that as a sign to really think about, okay, what is the purpose? Like, what am I really doing here? Like, what's the purpose of this workout and this run? So, I just had to remind myself of the standard and the consistently good, consistently great. I mean, not the consistently great, consistently good, occasionally great thing I was just talking about. But being aware of your effort on runs is key, and being aware of the purpose and the intentionality in whatever you do is key. Because certain days it might be a little bit lower effort, but the intention will always be there. It's just efforts are different depending on what you're doing, just in general. But other than audiobooks, that's the only one I'm really reading right now. But in terms of podcasts, I really liked NFR podcast. This is just pretty much all music, like especially rap music. And the two hosts, their names are Anthony and Luca, but Luca goes by Lou. They always keep their episodes interesting, and they really give you a deep dive on topics. Like they talk about like Kendrick, Drake, like MF Doom, like basically any rapper, any type of music. Like they've even talked about Stevie Wonder, which is cool. And it's just really informative, and it basically puts you on the music, because it tells, like, because when they did their top 10 rap album list, like, it had Illmatic in 2001, and what else did it have on there? Also like Good Kid, Mad City, To Pimp a Butterfly, like stuff like that. Me Against the World by Tupac. I'm like, okay, I've never really heard some of these albums, and that made me want to listen to them, because a lot of these albums, like the Miseducation, Lauryn Hill, I've never listened to that until like 2 weeks ago. Illmatic, I never listened to that until like maybe a few months ago. Reasonable Doubt, I haven't listened to that until like a couple weeks ago. And a lot of these albums are really critically acclaimed, so just having two people that are really like into music explain the album in their honest opinion, it gives you like kind of the initiative to try it yourself and listen to it and see like what you truly think about it. So I just think it's really cool, and it just I think if you're really a big fan of rap, you'll really appreciate this podcast, and you'll really be, and if you're open-minded to new music, you'll really catch stuff that you've never heard and never knew you could possibly like. So it's really entertaining podcast, really informative. So I wanted to put that in here. But next thing I want to kind of talk about is just running, how running going right now. Right now, my mileage is sitting at around like 30 miles per week. And our first cross-country meet's coming up. I believe it's August 9th. But mileage will slowly ramp up and peak, I believe, next week or so. And then preparing for it, the long runs will kind of stay constant, maybe like 8 to 10 miles per week. But in terms of long runs, not per week, but I mean, just the long run portion of it. But training's going pretty well overall. I mean, tempos, the efforts are there. easy runs, efforts there. I just feel like everything is going to plan. I mean, obviously there'll be obstacles along the way, but I think that's a part of the process, obviously. But I can't really complain about it. I mean, it's nothing to complain about. I mean, it's just staying with the process and during the process and seeing what the end result is. But the tempos just, I really like the tempos because they really give you a good feel of what race pace will feel like. 'Cause, I mean, I think, well, my tempos are probably like right now like 6 flats, like 6:10 pace, and I think that's pretty close to like race effort for me. So it just gives you a really good gauge of how that'll look like and gives you a feel of it every so often. But really just executing it over and over again. I think training is very simple. Like even with basketball, baseball, running, whatever, you can get complex about it, but the principles are very simple. So it's just showing up day in and day out and having no doubt when race day comes that you've done everything that you can and that the hay is in the barn. But so far it's going pretty well. Really excited for cross country and really excited to see what that has in store for me. But next thing I got is lifting. Lifting's going pretty well right now too. I mean, seeing some good progression, seeing some good changes in my physique, and seeing some lean mass being put on. And I would say in terms of a favorite exercise, I would say Bulgarian split squat. And the reason that this is just it's taking the most intentionality and the most attention to detail out of any exercise I've done. Because with squat, you just squat. I mean, obviously there's a depth concern maybe, but it's pretty straightforward. You just squat down, squat back up. Well, can you squat back up? Well, you spring back up. I don't physics. I don't know. I don't think you can squat back up, but you know what I mean. You propel back up, and then like with a seated leg curl, pretty simple. You just curl down, curl the pad down to like the I don't even know. You just curl. If you see a certain seated leg curl, I'll put a video of me doing it right here. That is very straightforward. But also leg extension, you just extend your legs, extend your quads forward, and make your legs like flat, like vertical. These explanations are really, really interesting. But pretty much exercises are pretty straightforward. But with this one, the main thing is balance. And the main thing is just not, busting your butt on the floor. Because I'm holding 40-pound weight, so the weight just wants to sway you to the side, kind of. So you have to like squeeze your glutes, pause. And you have to just, the thing is, too, is where your toe is on the pad or whatever you're using. Because the thing is, if you have your foot too far back, you'll kind of trip. And that's obviously a safety hazard. So it's making sure your foot is like, you don't want to put too much weight on your foot. So most of the weight you want to go on the foot that's on the ground. So that can stabilize you during the movement. But I would say that's my favorite one right now. It just takes the most attention to detail and it's the most challenging, and it just made me want to learn it even more. But once you get that down, it's a very smooth movement. Obviously, it's the most for me. It's the most. It takes the most out of me, like that and RDLs, in my opinion. But once you get the hang of it, it's really really nice movement. So it's actually one of my favorite moves right now since I've got it down. And the reason because I used to do seated leg press, it was like a machine. But I switched it out because I feel like I wanted to do a unilateral movement because it can work out some muscle imbalances, and it's just a good way to switch it up. Because I think with training, you shouldn't have movements. I mean, obviously there's presses and stuff and curls that are very similar, but I think you should change not change it up to where the point where you're inconsistent and you don't like really like the movements. But I think you should change it up to the point where it's not conflicting and it's not the exact same movement, and make some little diversity like throughout your training so it can hit different muscle fibers or whatnot. But that's how lifting is going right now. My favorite movement, which might be a hot take, is Bulgarian split squats, but it's my favorite movement right now. But we're gonna wrap it up. It's just one saying I like right now, and I'm gonna leave y'all with that. But one thing I really like right now is consistently good over occasionally great. And I've definitely been saying this throughout my podcast and just in general for a while, but it really hit me definitely after that easy run, because it really opened my eyes to I'm actually naturally trying to compete with others when I should just be competing with myself. Because at the end of the day, if I compare me to like earlier when I was younger, I've come a long way, and you shouldn't be competing with someone else that weren't even with you on your journey. Seeing the journey in the evolutions you made over time and just trying to beat that. Like, you don't really have to. I mean, obviously, if you're in a race and you're trying to get a medal and go to the Olympics, you need to get that spot and beat other people. But if you're going on an easy run, or well, not even on easy runs is just off a field for the most part. But if you're doing a workout, look at your splits you did last time. Maybe for a 1K, I got 335. So okay, this time I'm gonna try and get 330. So I think that's the thing I kind of fell in love with track for. It's not really someone you're competing with for the most part. It's just time. Like, you're competing with the time. You're competing with the times you got last time and trying to get better, 1% better every day. But the main thing I really like about the saying is I feel like people, like I said, try to be occasionally great and overshoot things to compensate for the lack of consistency they have. And I think if you're consistently good over occasionally great, it gives you the freedom to let it rip like whenever, because you have that base of consistency and you have that base of confidence to do like and go out there and really show you what you're made of, I guess. But it also gives you the confidence and proof to yourself that you can do your best on the day and just execute to the best of your ability, no matter the outcome. But consistently good, not occasionally great. I think that's really important. I think a lot of people trying to overshoot just to please others and prove to others that they're good when they just don't have the consistency to back it up, and they're kind of doing that out of ego and fear. But that's a little saying, and that was the end of my little quick life update. Well, not so quick. We're running on like 28 minutes right now. And I forgot. I got a little Q&A. So we're gonna wrap it up with the Q&A. I'm almost wrap the video up with the Q&A. Hold on. Let me get the questions. I'm gonna answer these real quick and we're gonna wrap it up from there. All right, so the first question. These questions are from my sister, by the way. So if you're watching this, thank you for the questions. But first question, top 3 audiobook recommendations. And it's a really good question. For number 1, I'll probably say The Courage to Be Disliked, that number 1, because I think a lot of people deal with interpersonal problems and they deal with competing with others and valuing like their value is misguided based on what others are doing, what they've portrayed in social media. So I think that would really help people out, and just teaches you how to be more content with yourself and how to be more real with yourself and not be opposed to the praise of others and looking for approval from others, and just because I feel like that's the only thing that makes people happy sometimes. Like, they're like, okay, if so and so doesn't say they like this, it means nothing. But in reality, it's what you think and how you feel about it. What other people say, I mean, obviously people have opinions. By the end of the day, it's what you think and how you feel about it and how you value it. And are you progressing? Are you getting better? That's how I view it. But I would say number 1, The Courage to Be Disliked. Number 2, I'll probably say Mind Shift by Erwin McManus. I just think it really talks about not having a ceiling and not limiting yourself. So I think a lot of people have limiting mindsets, and if you have a limiting mindset, it's going to be very difficult to get by and really realize what it is you want in life and really push your capabilities to the fullest. But it just kind of goes into not limiting yourself and trusting yourself, and like topics like ambition and things like that. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't read it in a minute, but that's kind of the gist of it. But it just basically goes on to mindset and how the mind works and how your perception can change everything in life. But I'd recommend Mind Shift by Erwin McManus. I'd put that at number 2. And then at number 3, I would probably put Trust by Dr. Henry Cloud, because it talks about trusting people and track records and how track records prove if someone is more likely to do what they're going to say they're going to do or bail on you. And it just teaches you how to have good relationships with people and build better relationships with people as a whole. I think trust is one of the main things in relationships, and I think it's really good for relationships for yourself, because if you don't trust yourself, I don't think you'll have the confidence to do what you set out to do. But I just think trust is really important. I think it's one of the main components of life, especially with relationships with other people, because if there's not trust, I don't think the relationship will work. So that's my top 3. Number 1 is The Courage to Be Disliked. Number 2, Mind Shift by Erwin McManus, and number 3 is Trust by Dr. Henry Cloud. That's my top 3 I'd recommend. But number 2, this is a really good question. I was looking forward to this. If you could have a deep conversation with any historical figure, who would it be? It's a really good question. And these answers are on the spot, by the way. I'm thinking of this answer right now. I don't want to write anything down for these. I just want to give y'all a genuine answer. Let me think. I don't know why, but I'd probably say Kendrick or X. Like, cause I mean, I obviously don't know these people, and like I obviously X, he's not here with us anymore. But I don't really know these people at all. But just the way how vulnerable they are and the mess. Because I really realized the messages that Kendrick paints and puts out in the world, I really relate to them because he talks about discipline and courage and vulnerability and going through like battles like depression and anxiety, and I really like respect that and I really relate to that on on a certain level. And with X, he's just really vulnerable, and he talked about like, loving yourself and doing things just because you like them solely and not trying to do things to please others. And I really appreciate that. He's really on that like towards the end of his career, but he's always like been kind of philosophical and on that type of like, I guess, quote unquote woke level. But I would probably say Kendrick or X. I feel like we really have a deep conversation. We really relate and really hit the same cylinders, if that makes sense. But it might sound generic, but that's just what came off the top of my head. I really think we'd have a really good convo. But third one is another good question. How's your perspective on life changed over the years? It, it it's my perspective on life has really changed. Like, I mean, I would say I always thought I was capable of something when I was younger, but I never really had the courage and had the belief in myself to do it. And I just really think people have the power to do anything they want in life. Like, it's just consistency, having the drive to do it and the will to do it, and being persistent and trusting and waiting. Because I think a lot of people don't like to wait, and I think if you really want greatness in life, you have to wait for it and show up every day and do everything you can to make it work. But I definitely would say I think consistency rules all. I think that's literally changed my life, and I just think being present is really important. Like, being aware of what you're doing and being in the moment when you're doing hard things. I think a lot of people kind of trying to disassociate when they're doing hard things. I think you really sit in it and really think about what's going on and how it's going to benefit you in the long term. I think that will really help you get through it. But I would say definitely consistency. That's really the biggest thing to me, because I just seen how powerful it is and how it really changed my life, and it's literally changed my life. And I think consistency is just, it's the magic pill people don't want to do. It's the magic pill people don't want to take. And I just think life is what you make it. Life is what you want it to be, and you have to get out there and get it, because no one else is gonna save you. And I think life just teaches you things, and the more you experience, you learn more. And I think you can always be better, and you can always learn new things and always be a lifelong student. So that's kind of how my perspective has changed. And I just think I've been more positive and more optimistic, instead of, oh my gosh, like this happened and this happened. Like, I don't really complain at all. So I would say I'm more optimistic, more open-minded, and I'm just more open to what life has for me. And I'm just more aware of the work and the dedication and attention to detail and the consistency it takes to get to where I want to be. So I would just say I'm more aware and more like open-minded, more positive. I would say that's how it's changed. But fourth question: what coping strategies have you found effective for stress? This is a really good question. I wouldn't say I'm a stressful person, but I have times where I do stress out and I overanalyze things. But things that I do, I just be like, okay, like, is this gonna work itself out? Like, do I really need to worry about this right now? Like, that's one thing I kind of try to tell myself, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm still working on this, but I'm just like, okay, because I'm not gonna lie, most of the time I'm stressed. It's like when I make recipes, or like when I'm planning out training, or like I'm planning out meals or whatever, because I really want to like dial it in and make it obviously make it good. But it's just picking something or running with it. I'm just like, all right, I'm about to just pick something, and I know when I pick something, I'll execute it and do what I have to do. So just picking something and just being like, all right, let's just pick this and see how it goes. But in terms of daily stressors, I just think of, okay, what's the best thing that could happen? Like, what? No, I don't try and think of the worst scenario. I'm like, all right, how can I make this work in the best favor possible for me and the people around me that are involved in the situation, if they are. But I just try and think of the best thing that can happen. And sometimes I just try and I'm like, all right, this is what it is right now. I'm gonna step away from it for right now, or sometimes I'll just have to sit there and figure it out. But I would probably say to step away from it and kind of just maybe go for a walk or something. But I try and think of the best of it and just be as hopeful as possible and see how I can make it work out the best. And if it's out of my control, I'm just like, all right, it's out of my control, and I just do the best I can with that. But I would say I'll throw journaling in there too, because with journaling and listening to audiobooks, you really dive in like deep like within yourself, like what's going on. But I would probably say really evaluating the situation, realizing, can I control this or can I not, and am I just overthinking it? And if I am, I'm about to just pick something and run with it and just see how it goes. So it'll probably work itself out if I do what I need to do. But that's my answer to that question. But last question, and this has changed over the years. How do you mentally prepare for a track meet? And I'm not gonna lie, I used to be so nervous with track meets. I used to be like, I'd be shivering in my boots. I'm not gonna lie, but as I've gotten older, and especially junior year, I've just kind of been like, I'm just about to go out there and see what happens. Because once the gun goes off, I just naturally fall into it. I'm just like, all right, let's just see what happens. Like, I mean, I've done the work, and let's just see what happens. If it doesn't go out in my favor, I'll learn from it and adjust. But I'll just be like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just, because the thing is, a good saying I like is, track meets are are just races in general. It's a celebration of all the work you've put in. So I'm just gonna go out there and celebrate what I've done and just put the best effort I have on that day. But in terms of mentally preparing, I used to listen to music. I don't really listen to music before track meets anymore because I feel like that just freaks me out even more. I'm not gonna lie. So I act pretty normal. Like I might have a not pre-workout. It's a race, pre-race snack. I might just sit for a little bit, just chill. But obviously, when I get on the line, I'm a little bit nervous. So I just think about, all right, let's just get it. Let's just see what happens. And I just take off. But I just say, I try not to overthink it too much. I'm just like, all right. And I feel like I'll be better at this next year from stuff I've learned. But I'll just be like, all right, this is just a celebration of the work I've done. And I feel like once I get started and you get in the race, it's not as bad at all. It's just like you're doing a workout. It's not even a second thought that you're racing. It's just you're doing the things you've always done. And the consistency, I think the consistency really helps because it gives you the confidence to pull it off and do the best you can because you know you've done what all this you could to get there. But I would say right now, if I went into a track meet, I would just go out there and just see what happens. Obviously, I think nerves are a part of it and that shows that you care. But just going out there and just seeing what happens, just taking the first step. I think that's how I would mentally prepare for it, just seeing what happens. But that was just a quick life update and a little Q&A. If y'all want more episodes like this, let me know. I think it's a kind of a longer episode, but kind of like that. Just letting y'all know, like, generally what's going on and how I feel about things and just kind of, I guess, ranting a little. Not really ranting, but just talking. Really just talking about pretty much anything other than the sections I provided. But let me know if y'all like that episode, and I'm going to see y'all next time.